This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Mozz, it's Chaz. We really want to be your friends. We wish these times would never end, but they will. And they do. And they have. Oh, yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, welcome to the very last episode of the AK. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Yes, Mozz. Oh man, this was a good episode. They all are. Oh wait, gotta do our credits. 1 second.
Indeed.
An old friend visits sorry. Season 3, episode 13. I'm all for fun. Season 3, episode 13. AKA Everything. An old friend visits Jessica as she sets out on an agonizing mission and learns the true cost of being a hero. Our director this week is Nessa Hardiman. Our writing credits, these go, of course, we open up with Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Gaydos, gets our Marvel Comics credits. This story was by Nancy Wan. Melissa Rosenberg gets the created by and the teleplay by screen credit this week. Lisa Randolph is a story editor, as is Lisa Randolph also gets a teleplay by credit on this episode. Jamie King, who we will be doing an interview with on Mozz and I's new channel, Full Stream Ahead. Watch for it here on the Southgate Media Group and the Capes and Lunatics Network. Jamie King is our story editor. Jay Holtzman is also a story editor. And hardest working woman in show business, or possibly man, because I don't know exactly how Jesse's one of those names. Jesse Gaydos, hardest working person in show business, is our staff writer this week. Okay, anyway, so this is a good episode. We open up with,
I think it gave you everything you wanted in the finale. There was a whole bunch of closure all up and down this episode.
And really, there's a lot going on in this. There's a lot that is being discussed, being explored by Jessica and her crew, but we actually do have as our opening salvo just the fact that Salinger is dead, and we open up with basically Jessica walking out of the courthouse, just shocked, overwhelmed by this, because of course, she knows who did it. Jerry knows who did it. Our Costa doesn't, but Costa knows she knows,
Yeah, how does anybody not know? Because even in the press, they're best friends, and so people are not putting it together that she's a suspect.
But you don't know that Patsy has superpowers.
Right, no, but I mean, people get superpowers all sorts of ways these days. I can't imagine that no one's like, you know what, I bet she found a way to get her friend superpower. But even if she's not superpowered, there's tools and weapons out there that you can wear that give you the sort of, or simulate the sort of strength a super person would have.
Yeah, but then again, maybe people just don't think of Patsy in that way,
Right.
She's just a former child star. Yeah. Is that who becomes a superhero? Maybe not. Maybe that's just an assumption by people. So, but
I mean, I would say most people think of her as a supervillain. No.
It's the Punisher question all over again.
bit more unhinged.
Well, I mean, she's definitely, she's definitely, well, you see, I don't, she doesn't have a lot of anger control because, of course, that's the thing. In all of these, all of her murders, it was less about her intending to kill these people, with the exception, of course, actually, her first kill, which no one mentions, which is Jessica's mother.
Right. And the only one that she didn't mean to kill is Montero, right? The guy in the.
No, she didn't mean to kill the cop either.
Oh, that's right. I guess, yeah. But she did mean to kill Salinger. She did mean to kill the other and Jessica's mom.
No, she did mean to kill Salinger, but the other two, I don't think she meant to kill. I don't think she meant to kill Montero or the cop. I think they both just, in fact, they actually wanted to beat up Montero so he could say I was attacked by this person because it would prove that Jessica wasn't the one who did it.
Right. But it's such hilarious thinking.
Yeah. But I guess, there's a way that you think about it that, Jessica is a prime suspect in these kinds of situations. She is, she has powers. She has killed before, as they point out. And, there is that as a very real possibility in this story that, she did kill that cop because, and for that one, she was on his body cam. So there was hard evidence that, she had a negative interaction with this guy. So, there's that just to start it off with.
Well, right, no, but I mean, the logic that follows after that, the thinking that roughing up this other guy is a good way to actually clear Jessica's name. I mean, it's a Band-Aid that serves a purpose, I guess, but it really wasn't far out, I think that's the difference between her and the Punisher. Mm-hmm. She's so in the moment, she's so riled up by the juiciness of her ego. Mm-hmm. Like the idea that, I could be this superhero, that sounds so juicy to me, that everything else is overshadowed by it. At least Punisher, he sort of does his research, knows somebody is really probably better dead, or at least makes a concerted effort to understand the dynamics of everything at play before he does something like that. He doesn't kill as frivolously as she does. She seems to be excited by it. She seems to be excited by the moment and about the chance to maybe be a badass hero.
Mm-hmm. And,
sanity. I think that's what's missing with the Punisher. Sorry.
No. I mean, it's fair. It's fair. I mean, it is a question that, is good to ask. Is she lost in her own crimes because she, this is what I'll say, when they first kill the cop and Eric says to her, the world is better, it's amazing that it's like, I've never felt that before. I've never seen that the pain that this person has caused has stopped. So in her mind,
Sorry.
So in her mind, she may well feel, especially in these cases, that, with Montero, with Salinger, she knows exactly who she's killing. And, with the cop in Montero, we actually have Geldon's seal of approval that these are bad guys.
Right, but at the same, I think that is more of a crutch she relies on to justify that feels good. I don't think that's the main reason. I think that's something that's convenient that happens to also be true. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it.
Okay.
She's like, I can use that as a legit thing. Nobody will say anything if I kill this guy.
Well, yeah, but then again, as her point, if we don't kill them, will they just kill again? It's your basic, Joker question with Batman. Should Batman actually kill the Joker? Because
yeah, but I think isn't like the hallmark of a villain, like, when he asks himself the question, have you tried killing them yet? This is her the way she sees the world now.
Mm-hmm.
Try killing him. Yeah, let's just get rid of him.
Yeah, well, and
I think that's the hallmark of a supervillain.
then I'm not gonna disagree with that either, because I personally see, I don't think the Punisher's that good of a superhero. So
he's actually an awful superhero.
Yeah, I actually think
true.
that the Punisher is not a hero, doesn't deserve that title, because I feel.
See that. But I don't think he's a villain either.
Well, I don't. Well, and this is I think when we get to later with the Greek guy, it's Demetrius, right?
Yeah.
And she realizes that this person had a daughter, this person had a family, this person was not necessarily, or maybe was too. It's a very complex question. Were they really good people, or did they have people who loved them, but were they still evil at their core as well? And of course that one was particularly worse. And this is where I'll disagree with the view of it. Is I do think that Hellcat, Patsy Walker, does have a sense of morality and is not so far gone. I do think she, really could be a hero. I don't think it's narcissism. That's my thing. Is I don't think it's narcissism. I think it is, in its own way, it is controlling. It is about not feeling powerless. And
Right, but you remember that scene where Jessica gets a nod from the reporter or something like, or from the cop, and she's so burning with jealousy sitting next to her in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge part.
Well, yeah.
She didn't get the recognition. I want to be recognized as a hero. I think they had that conversation too. It's like, not to be recognized, not to be given the credit for it. She wanted the credit for it.
I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, and there's a part of that which is true too, but that also doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a bad hero, it is one of these things,
But if it's causing you to jump over the part of the equation where you figure out, should I kill this person or not?
Mm-hmm.
All she needed was a word under duress from Hogarth to go kill this man. All she had to say, he's a monster. Good enough for me.
Yeah. Well, fair enough, and and again, when she actually talks to her about it, she doesn't say, I want you to kill him. Even really walks it back, although at the same time, she was, that I think is part of the dynamic with Hogarth, is Hogarth, wanted this problem to go away. And she is used to her people using these forces as they need to, going beyond what is maybe a reasonable level of cruelty, to gain the knowledge that they want. But, I mean, it's an interesting take on the question of, is Patsy a hero? Is Patsy a villain?
I don't think she's irredeemable, but in the space she finds herself in, blinded to the rest of the world, once she sees, forest for the trees, I think she'll be able to reconcile what she's done with what she feels she should have done. But at this point, I don't think she's capable of making that judgment.
No, I think that is the arc that she goes on in this. Because that is
fair enough. Yeah.
Because, she comes, at the end, at the very end, she says, I'm the bad guy.
Right.
She realizes.
But at the end, when she's walking away, when she's being led away, and Jessica's behind the bars looking through the gate, and she gives her a knowing nod. And I love the way Kristen Ritter played this, because she's like a little surprised and taken aback by the reaction.
Well, I kind of took that to be their kind of reconnection as sisters.
Right.
Just this idea that, yes, we we are in a bad spot right now, but don't ever forget you're still my sister, you know?
Right. But I think she was able to look at her and give her that emotion as opposed to hurt and, you know, like being angry at the betrayal or something like that. Instead of looking at that, she gave her, you know, a gesture of peace, and she said, hey, gave her a knowing smile.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because she came to her realizations that she was ready to, she saw herself again. And I think that's why she looked over and she's like, almost like, not really apologetically, but like, okay, I get it. But we're, you know, I want us to still be cool. And that's what I saw in that. And I thought Jessica did not expect that. I thought she expected the angry reaction, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes, and to be fair, you know, I mean, you know, it's interesting when you talk about, you know, good and evil in this world, because you do have Hogarth, who is unmistakably, you know, making choices that are by their nature evil and making the world less good. And we see this, and she again does these things for selfish reasons. You know, she literally is, you know, doing all this just so she won't die alone. And she's gonna cross this line, and well, granted, nobody wants to die alone, and maybe she truly does have love for this woman, but then again, as can be pointed out, you know, this woman was around, you know. She could have, you know, she could have looked her up at any time, you know. But it's when she gets sick that she's like, okay, now I need to find out now I need to get this person back in my life. You know, it's not about making amends for the way she treated, you know, her. It's her essentially, you know, just trying to get one more thing that she wants, you know.
Or it could be like, you know, it's the thought of confronting your own mortality sort of jolted her and scared her into thinking, you know, I've been putting off asking myself these important questions about who I am and what I want and what blah, 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 for the sake of, you know, my career and all this, but maybe this is something I want. But she's so broken at this point with how she deals with the world that the only way she knows how to communicate how she feels is to, you know, this was like her grand gesture in a sick and twisted way, what she did to her husband, you know?
Yeah, and you know, to be fair, you know, you know, everything has just gone. This has been a roller coaster. This relationship,
Indeed,
because, you know, and the husband being so selfish and taking his life just because, you know, and then to make it a way to try and screw over Jerry, you know, essentially tainting their relationship, you know.
I mean, there's a bit of tit for tat that's understandable in that situation, no?
Wow. Well, you know what, he could have, you know, I mean, the guy, you know, the guy was
not saying he was right, but, you know, if you wrong the person who wronged you, is it as wrong, you know?
Yeah, but, you know, I guess maybe there was an aspect of this which was, you know, did, you know, I guess to me the question, because the actual question wasn't what happened here wasn't that, you know, this guy was doing wrong. This guy was doing evil. You know, he was stealing from a charity to pay off his girlfriends, you know. And it wasn't the betrayal of sex, it was the betrayal to the memory of their daughter, you know. So, and I think, you know, you can say, oh, you know, Jerry is using her powers to hurt this guy. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, but this guy was also, it kind of goes back to Patsy, you know, and if we are removing a truly evil presence, is that necessarily, does that we are doing that and we would like to be rewarded make the world less good because our motivations were lousy. You know, I mean, it is certainly selfish that she goes out and uncovers these things, but that there was this stuff to uncover.
Right, but I mean, my point was simply, it's like, yeah, you messed up my relationship, I'm gonna mess up yours.
Yeah.
It seems understandable and kind of fair to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's all I meant. It's like,
And no, and that's fair. Although again, the guy goes, the guy probably could have done that
right.
without actually, doing this big public suicide scene. So,
Right. And
Yeah.
like, and most of what he said wasn't untrue all the way either.
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly, and that's sort of the thing, because in fact, Jessica had absolutely nothing to do with the information that was found out about him. It was actually just, good old fashioned, PI work, no superpowers necessary. And if there is a moral of this season, it is superpowers aren't necessary to really ruin people's lives. But they can help.
Yeah, people have been doing it for ages,
Yes.
just fine on their own.
Yes, but they're all. But after Salinger is murdered, and what I think is very interesting is Jaren becoming truly afraid of Patsy. Because I think she originally thought about maybe using Patsy as her own, as a Jessica who would get her hands dirtier.
Right.
But once she realizes how dirty her hands could get, and when she realizes that, oh, you kill evil people, and I'm probably not that good.
That and she recognized that Trish was of a bent that cannot be bargained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That she was on some zealot level ideology that she was following, that she was not going to be bargained with anything.
But then by the end of it, they actually, Jerry is going along with it.
The bargain, you're right.
She does make the bargain. Yeah, Patsy and Jerry make the bargain, because at the end of the day, they I think on some level Jerry enjoyed being the hostage in that situation. Because of course what happens is they need to lure Patsy out of hiding. Yeah, Trish out of hiding. And they have Hogarth say very publicly that yes, she knows the true identity of the masked vigilante, so that Trish will confront her, and of course then Trish's and of course when Jaren's girlfriend, and I'm blanking on her name, I want to say it's Kit. It's Kit. That's right. Wanted to call her Kit, but that's the green guy from Futurama. But anyway, when she comes in unexpectedly, and suddenly you actually get this really dangerous hostage situation that and again, this is something that where Patsy is in that rough spot. Patsy is in that rough spot where she wants to be free from all this, but she can't because she is about to kill this woman to get her own escape. And, that should have been one go, that should have been the moment that she had a realization, but she doesn't. And when Jerry agrees to go with, Trish to save, Kith, I mean, it's at one time seen as being truly, she's doing it because she loves her. But at the same time, as soon as she's there, she's not a hostage anymore. And for what it's worth, I guess she is negotiating, making that deal. Because she's saying, look, yeah, I know how to get people out of the country. I know what we can do with you. I know how to find you. I can help you with this. But of course, then after Jerry shoots, Jessica, Which they never really deal with much, They just, I guess it was just a very light flesh wound, but then I guess maybe Jerry actually really is a really good shot.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe
she is a marksman.
Yeah, well, you know what? She owns a gun. Maybe she does go down to the range on a regular basis,
She seems like the kind of woman who would go down to the range to get out some frustration.
Oh yeah. So what Jessica, of course, does is she releases the evidence that that Salinger had. Actually uses Salinger's evidence against Trish and essentially blows up the situation, returns it to, the thing that she was fighting so hard to prevent, she's now going to do, and that I think is a truly interesting take on that. But of course, that also means that it's like much harder now to get her out of the country because it's not just going to be, getting her getting her out of the country with a fake passport. This is going to be, you can't go anywhere because you're going to be recognized. So, they do take it to this guy whose gig is shipping coffins to war zones. So, business is good, I guess.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, and it's also this really interesting aspect of it because obviously this is where Patsy realizes, she's got to put herself into this person's hands, who is not a good person, obviously, and is also probably, really could betray her at any time, or could, not let her out the way that she was hoping,
Right. The conundrum I saw her possibly having was, ooh, he's so evil, I should kill him, but he's helping me,
Yeah.
And maybe her thought was somewhere across the ocean she would break out and kill them all.
Yeah.
Something like,
Yeah. But of course, they do track Trish down. Our gang does, I'm trying to. Oh yes, because
social media.
Yes, they did find they found Jaren's car heading upstate, and they realized there's an airfield there, and so they go. And we get our big Jessica Jones Hellcat fight, which was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting situation. You had to make it interesting. You had to make it competitive in some way because it wasn't going to be physically competitive, but it needed to have some sort of substance. It needed to have some sort of drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess sort of like Superman holding back against Batman, it was that sort of thing.
Well, but it's also, I mean, I actually think it's also that you also got to see the differences in how she can use her powers, when she turns off the lights and now she has the advantage, or,
Right.
and that is the fact that, for what it's worth, Patsy is a better fighter. She's not just a brawler. She has been,
she's actually studied.
Exactly. So yeah, I thought that made for a good thing. I mean, yeah, we always know that Jessica is going to beat her up, but I think it was reasonable that Patsy might have gotten away with it.
I think they walked that line really well.
Yeah, and they did that very nicely. And then we get our sort of we actually totally forgot about our visit from Luke Cage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hero of Harlem, who maybe isn't being as heroic lately either, Which is...
that was interesting. You noticed like the ambiguity in, or at least his reluctance to take on the moniker. And I thought like maybe he was trying to say, I've heard. She was sort of like maybe asking him, are you here to stop the mass vigilante? And he's like, I'm just here as a friend, not on hero business,
Yeah, and I can see that, and I think that I get the feeling that there is this aspect to that Luke Cage. I think on one level they just kind of needed to get Luke Cage in here. We had no other superhero cameos, and the extension of this universe was kind of was kind of a big selling point for it. So having Luke show up, and this seems like a good place to put it, because if you put him earlier, then it's like, Luke is just there in it for several episodes. So like when Danny shows up in Luke Cage, where it does go over like 2 or 3 episodes, where Danny's hanging out. So I did think that was a nice touch to it, and yeah, and what he really wanted to make the point of, which was that I hope that there will be someone there that can, because obviously they know, and again, they may not know that she knows it's Patsy yet, but she does know, they know that Jessica has a relationship with her. And whoever this vigilante is, they know it's a friend of yours. And so Luke having to just basically say, listen, we're in this life of being a powered person. And I'm really hoping that if I ever do go too far, you'll be there to pull me back, which is also about, the fact that, Patsy needs to be pulled back. So that I think is the real possible redemption arc that we could get from all this. Because she does realize she's the bad guy. But what happens next is going to be interesting, because she is going to the raft. And one thing we know about the raft is they do, the government isn't going to just let her, this idea that it's a prison, the raft, it's true, it is. But at the same time, if you would be willing to have work release, I think the government has people that they might want to have work released,
So it's kind of like central casting or something.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see if we got a superpowered person in jail that we can have handle this.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, there are the Thunderbolts, which is a real thing, which actually was this idea of taking these supervillains and making a team out of them. Well, I mean, that wasn't the original. The original plan was actual supervillains pretending to be heroes. But later it does become kind of Marvel's Suicide Squad. And to me, the idea that the government says, well, okay, she's fast and vicious, and we could use another trained assassin. We could use someone who has those kinds of powers, who has just enough strength that they can take out a lot of people, and can also see in the dark.
They can subdue her easily.
Exactly. They can put a little shock collar on her.
Which I'm surprised they didn't have on her right here, because she's a superpowered person. If she wanted to break the cuffs and jump over stuff and get away, I think she could have.
Well,
maybe that's why Jessica was there. That's interesting.
Or maybe here's what I'll say: these guys are professionals. Those are probably very hard to break cuffs.
Right. These are raft.
Yeah, and yeah, they know that she's not so superhumanly strong that she probably doesn't have chain breaking strong, or like if they were regular handcuffs, maybe, but these weren't regular handcuffs, And so I mean, it was a great series. It really was. Oh, and of course, as we're tying up all of our loose ends, Kif walks away from Jerry because, which I always thought was funny, because it was interesting, because when she first walks in to confront her about, the guy dropping his suit, she just says, and I knew you were doing something wrong, but I just felt free. Felt so good just to feel free. But then she kind of undoes it. It's like, you were kind of saying you were feeling free yesterday, but now you're going to dump me? It's...
Well, wasn't that moment and this moment sandwiched around the harrowing, near-death experience she just had?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose so, but at the same time, it's like...
See, I thought it was either that changed her mind, or she was playing her the whole time. That from the moment she walked back in and met her son, and offered to help, sort of like, she knew she wouldn't be able to say no, so it's almost predatory in a way what she did. She knew she would have to come if she had no other choice, and she would have that power. So she said, she, from that moment, had thought, oh, I'm going to get her. I'm going to use her for what she's worth. I'm going to get her hopes up, and then I'm going to drop her.
Yeah.
At that point, did she know that Hogarth was dying, or had she not told her yet? Because she makes a point to point it out in this episode, and I was wondering, was that the first time she told her?
I thought.
Do you remember?
I mean, I had thought she had, but maybe that is the first time that it really gets covered. So.
Because I'm trying to think about the level of revenge fantasy this woman had when she concocted this idea. Did she know that Hogarth was dying? And did she work that into her equation that I'm going to leave her and be able to say, yes, you are going to die alone? Oh, that must have felt so satisfying to say to her after everything she did to her. My word.
Yeah, although, Hogarth says, you are the last mistake I'll ever make. So that.
What did she mean by that? I didn't understand what she meant by that.
She meant she's never going to let her heart cloud her judgment.
Or did she mean, I'm never going to have a chance to make a mistake like you?
No, I mean, I would.
I wondered about that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because I don't think, I mean, yeah, she knows she's dying, but the words were said with such spite. I don't think it was like I'm dying and I'll never find true love. It's like, I was a fool to think that, that love was real. Essentially, I was a fool to think that, and I won't be a fool again.
Which is such a empty sort of volley, because how much time do you have to try to make that? Go ahead, try to make that mistake again. You'll never be able to. It's like
actually, people Luke Gehrig says he can live for years.
Well, they painted it like she was just about to die. You know what I mean?
She's not even at a late. I mean, no, but
That's
she's
true.
just,
You're right.
she's.
You're right. She kept saying, this will just start getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it's good.
But okay, yeah, maybe, yeah.
And it's not even. Yeah, I mean, I would say that she, she's having trouble with her hands, but this is the first we've seen it, and we've seen that she has some balance issues. But again, is that necessarily the late stage of it? So,
well, if she meant it that way, then it brings me even joy, because I know it brought kids even more joy to hear her say it in that tone.
Yes. Oh, there you go. And Jessica gives. Well, and this is interesting because Jessica gives Malcolm. Oh, and of course Malcolm does have his visit with his ex. And again, maybe being just kind of selfish again makes this whole thing about I love you, but I can't be with you. And then Barry comes out, and it's like, yep, you almost got another one.
Yeah. I love that he says, I love you, and then immediately backpedals is, but this can't work, yada, yada, yada. It's like, and I was like, whoa, what is he doing? And then I was like, oh, why even say it? You were done. It was so clean. It was so easy. It was so perfect. He's like, you should go. She's like, okay. That would have been it. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. And knowing he had the girl in the bathroom, why poke the hornet's nest?
Because he is kind of he is self-destructive at the end of the day,
Yes, indeed.
So, yes, but Malcolm. So Jessica gives Malcolm the agency for what that's worth. Although how far that goes is going to be interesting. But we do see here at the very end, she is going to a train station, to take an Amtrak to as close as she can get to Mexico. No real reason is given for that, but okay. And then she hears the voice of Kilgrave, which was nice of them to bring him back for one final scene, and telling her that it's okay for her to give up, someone else will do it, yada yada yada. And then of course she turns around and doesn't leave. Yeah. So that is interesting. I thought it ended on a really powerful note. I thought it ended with her not doesn't give you like exactly where she's going next, but also lets you know she does embrace now that she is a hero. That she is the sandwich who saved me. So that is this. That has been this series.
And she sort of does the same thing to Eric that Kit does to Hogarth, where she's like, yeah, it's all well and good, but I can't trust you.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, yeah, but Eric actually does get his kind of interesting thing because he connects with Costa, and he says, "See that guy in the orange sweater?" And says, "Yeah, what'd he do?" He says, "I don't know, but it was awful."
I would watch that buddy cop show.
Oh yeah, that would be very fascinating. And who knows, Disney Plus, it's coming our way. So we'll have to see what they do with these guys, because it will be about 2 years since this first aired by the time, if this was in the 2020, if you had something in the 2021 slate, the 2022 slate, it would be well within their rights to introduce. So, for example, I'm sure when we get the She-Hulk series, we're gonna see Jaren Hogarth. Just because they're both lawyers. We'll see, once you have a lawyer show that's already there, you got to have Matt Murdock show up, or at least Foggy Nelson at some point.
They've already I read something where they're planning to make an R-rated movie starring John Barenthal as Punisher.
Oh, really?
So it sounds like that is in the works, which would be so fun.
Yeah, that would be very cool. I would enjoy that. I mean, I did enjoy everything they've done with John Barenthal as Punisher. Although, like I have said, I did not like that last ending.
Yeah,
but
I think it would be easy enough for them to forget that ever happened.
Yeah.
They really need to.
Yeah, because and again, like I said, they really cast those kids way too young. And I thought, kind of makes this interesting parallel against the cop that we see in this, that gets killed in this, which is like, killed drug dealers. Yeah, they were kids. They were kids. And maybe they were hardened thugs, but you know what? It's crazy.
And that's not your call to make.
Exactly.
You're not signing over our, what's the word I'm looking, approval on that to say we're part of it now. I'm not going to be a part of it.
Exactly. It's a very complex question when you get to that idea, which is essentially the entire Patsy question, Just because they're evil, when you know they're evil, it's great, but, what if someone could have been redeemed,
Right, are they just evil now?
Yeah. Anyway, so that is the end of it, Mozz. Any final thought on the entire Netflix universe? Because we are no longer covering Netflix universe.
Well, I mean, hopefully soon it will be the Disney Plus universe. It'll just be the Marvel universe, whether it be streaming or projected, I guess. Is it even projected anymore in the movies?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It's
it
still
is a projection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a projection. Yeah, you can't make a TV screen that big. Yeah, it's a projection, but it's like a digital projector. So.
Yeah, I wonder if that was somehow terribly different, mechanically speaking.
I mean, not really. Not really. Yeah, it's I mean, the main difference is you don't have reels. So.
Gotcha.
Although they still shoot on film, so I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. So. But
it was a good ending. I think this was the last show they did, so it was a fit ending to end with one of their strongest shows.
Yeah, and this was the first series that opens it, and it's also the series that. Oh no, Daredevil was. Daredevil was. Yeah, sorry, yeah. I got that confused. Oh well. But Daredevil got 3 seasons too. So.
Well.
I'm sorry, what?
Charlie Cox has agreed to come back as Daredevil as well.
Oh yeah, I fully expect to see him coming back. So we're going to see what happens with this. I don't think Disney is going to abandon these guys because they're, quite frankly, really useful. They have established fan bases. They've got good in-context characters, and
people love them.
People do love them. So yeah, I am certain we're going to be seeing more of them. Okay, so. Big announcement. As I said, this is the last episode of AKA JonesCast. Mozz and I are moving to a new show, which we are calling Full Stream Ahead. Avast me hearties, arg, where we will be reviewing more and more streaming shows, including our first volley out there, The Boys. So, gotta try and keep it clean still though. But that's our next big
I think
project.
that's going to be difficult with that show. It's going to involve, delving into some pretty heavy topics.
Mhm. But that's what we do best, Mozz.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And that show, I only saw like parts of the first episode so far, and yeah, it's gonna. I can see the conversations that we're gonna have to go down. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we'll make it work though. Anyway, Mozz, until that new show arrives, full stream ahead with Mozz and Chaz. How can people find you?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. It's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Mozz and Foz once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it, @Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
Quality. Ding.
There you go. Oh, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. We come not to bury Jessica Jones, but to praise her one last time. And until next time, even though we've said it before, we really do hope that we really did become your friends. Good night.